everyone for coming. You okay, Ben?
Yeah, go for it.
that angle of you right now.
And you're saying that on live TV. Thank you very much.
Let's see. Number one, the Green Initiative we're moving forward. It's called Green Wise. Next week we're going to announce publicly who our monthly speaker is for the month of July. So I feel very good about that speaker. It should be exciting for most people. Number two, Sacramento Kings had a very good week in terms of their draft picks. We're very excited about DeMarcus Cousins, a strong presence in the middle, a young player, tons of upside. I think it's going to add a lot to this particular franchise. Be a nice mix with our draft picks from last year, Tyreek in particular and Omri. I think that combination of young people will be really good for our city, and watching them grow together would be really exciting as well. Weather is hot out, so we got to be careful for the 4th of July. So obviously a time to spend with family and friends, but again, it's hot out, so we got to be smart in terms of the fireworks. And that's really it. It's relatively a slow week today in the city business. Council members, for the most part, are on recess, so there's not a lot of people around. And on the 22nd, we were able to kind of adopt a city budget going forward, which was really good. Obviously, program and services are going to be impacted, but being able to finalize the city budget was really important as well. So that's my quick update. If you guys have questions, be glad to address them.
What's the next step on the charter reform?
Why did I know that question was coming? Next question, next steps on that. A little bit of background first. That decision happened where council wouldn't vote on the language on Tuesday. It's essentially a week ago. And I cannot tell you the outpouring of support and encouragement that I've received to keep pressing on. People are clear. I don't think we give the public enough credit for how sophisticated they are. They were saying in some of the emails and some of the conversations that this is not about Kevin Johnson, the mayor. It's about how do we create a governance structure going forward that's accountable. It's about why would we as the people not get a chance to vote on something where so many of us have expressed the desire to do so. I think they're a little disillusioned by council in general in terms of elected officials not allowing them to have that right to vote on something. So I think that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing, one other point now, I was at a restaurant yesterday eating, just to kind of give you the depth of it, I was eating lunch. I was going to a restaurant to eat lunch, and this lady who was walking out ran back in and said, I watched that council meeting, why will they not let us vote? And I think what she was trying to say that the public is framing this as an issue that's between labor and business. And what she was saying, it's much broader than that. We're everyday people. I teach dance at a school, and I don't think everything is perfect. I don't think this system is working for us, nor my constituents that I live with in my neighborhood. And I think it's a much broader, somehow the issue has gotten framed between business and labor, and I think somehow the broader support has been left out, the everyday person, the little people. I met a lady on Saturday who came up to me and said, on Florin Road, between this block and this block, there are 18 businesses going out. 18 businesses that have signs saying we're going out of business. There's house after house that have been foreclosed on. There's somehow a disconnect between the reality of some of us and what is transpiring in the community on a regular basis. In terms of your question, what's next? There's still a little bit of time on the clock. I will say that. It's a long shot, but there's still a little time. So I can assure you, I have not given up. I guess one way of looking at it is I needed 5 votes on Tuesday of last week. I only need 3 now, so I guess that's progress if I frame it that way.
So you mean you only need 3 now?
I have 2.
Oh, you have 3 more.
You got to frame it any way you can to stay alive here. So, there's been, again, as I said earlier, groundswell of support, and others who are saying, give us a chance to vote on it, keep fighting for this. So yes, there's a small window of opportunity for November, but that would require getting 3 more votes.
What's the clock on that?
I'm going to talk a little bit more about that time frame in the coming days, but essentially what we needed to have happen on Tuesday was the language to be drafted on Tuesday, which was the 22nd, and then there was a recess in place, and then on July 13th, the city attorney would have brought that language back to council, and then they would have had to vote on the merit of the proposal for the first time at that point on the 13th, assuming that they had 5 votes at that point. Then by the 20th, 2 other things would have took place to basically certify the language and put it on the ballot. So there's still a recess period here. There's still a timeline, but again, none of this means anything without 3 more votes at the end of the day. So we're going to still have conversations with council members, encourage people to at least stay open-minded on it, to try to show them that there's a huge amount of people in the public who, for lack of a better way of looking at it, want a second chance or want to give us all a second chance to put this on the ballot in November.
One quick follow-up question. 2 points. Number one, at the council meeting after the vote, you targeted some people on the council for criticism. And this morning on Channel 40, you said, I wrote down the quote, "You're a city that is against everything and for nothing. There's a disconnect between the council members and what's happening in the community." It sounds a little bit like sour grapes. Is it sour grapes? And how do you expect to get allies on the panel that is being harshly criticized?
So look, so you're saying, by saying that we're against everything and for nothing is sour grape, or you're just
It sounded a little bit like sour grapes because you're saying, the next sentence was the council, there's a disconnect between what's going on in the public.
Okay, so let me take a step back. That's what I campaigned on. I got elected mayor running against the establishment. As a mayor, everyone before I ran felt everything was great in the city of Sacramento, and part of my campaign was, that's not what I'm hearing in the community. It's not what we're hearing. Again, you have an elected body here at council, which did not represent what I was hearing out in the community on a regular basis. So that's consistent to what I've said. That's before I ran. What I'd say now is, what I am begging for is accountability, because you can't get results without accountability. It just will not happen. So as a mayor, I'm saying that we need a governance system, a governance structure that gives the elected citywide official, the mayor of the city, whether it be me or some other mayor in the future, an ability to be accountable and have the authority to get results. That's just not the case today. And at that last council meeting, for me, it was about being straightforward and holding us all accountable. I just do not feel that, I felt at that particular council meeting, people's minds were made up. I felt at that particular council meeting, we didn't ask any questions about the merit of the proposal. At that particular council meeting, we had somebody fly up from San Diego who experienced what we're going through now. They recently went through it in terms of reauthorizing their executive mayor form of government, and had been through it previously. I didn't feel like the real dialogue was there. One of the comments from a council member, was, I don't see the support, for this, and I just don't feel that sincere. That the first time we brought the initiative forward, we have over 35,000 people who signed it. That 35,000, that is more votes than probably all council members collectively together received in terms of running for their district. There is a groundswell of support, number one. Number two, if you look out in the audience on June 22nd, let's say there were 250 people in the room, you probably had 220 people that were supportive of it and 30 that weren't. There were physical support right there. And again, this is an example for me where a small group of people can protect the status quo, and I don't think that does the city, I think it does the city a disservice, to be quite honest. Now again, we have to go forward, and we've got to figure out a way to disagree without being disagreeable. That does not mean it has to be absent of healthy tension